Any other questions?
So you said you keep narration for the last.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by narration? Is it the story or how the story unfolds?
Both ways. See, narration, why I said it as only narration is because sometimes you would tend to have a narrator who tells you the whole story, correct? Or you would say that there is a character which tells a part of the story, and then a character comes again, tells a part of the story, then again it comes, again it says. You can go in that way itself, right? Or it can be a cinematic sequence where everyone is doing their part and moves, like Uncharted, or if I'm not wrong, you have in Tomb Raider the same sequence itself. But at the starting, you have Lara Croft telling her, right? So narration has different techniques of saying. It's not that it is just one technique of narration. No, narration for me, it is like different techniques of saying. It can be a one-person narration, or it can be like, say for example, Transformers, always this one voice at the start says you the story, but you never see that person, correct? So it's a third-person narration, but we don't know who it is. It can be that way. Or a cinematic sequence itself, there is no separate person. You know exactly the person who is saying the story. That narration can happen. So for me, it's just plainly conveying the story to the user. How, which method to use it, it's up to the content. I just put it as narration over there because it was a one word and it's easier to put. But for me, that's the way. The storytelling over there comes in later when we are confident that the game is fun to play. Till then, how much of a good story you put in, right? If the game is not fun to play, it will be still an interactive movie and it might fail very badly. That's why I'm like, okay, let's make a game first and then come to the narration part. There are a couple of games which has done well with narration being the strong point. One is Heavy Rain kind of games, okay? But there are games which failed badly also. If I'm not wrong, there is a Japanese called Asura's Wrath on PS3. Looks anime super exhaustively, but it's an interactive movie with lesser action. Yeah, and they have just one core gameplay of fighting and that's it, done. Or you can be super good with Final Fantasy kind of a thing. Core gameplay loop is their combat system itself, and then the remaining core mechanic comes from their upgrade system completely. That's it. And remaining thing is completely their narration and their way of storytelling. You can try to do that also. But it's more of how do you flexibly do after you have a game in hand which is potentially good.
So is your method applicable in both mobile games and console heavy games?
Anywhere.
Because for mobile games, not having a story is a common thing.
Yes.
But for PC game or major game, story is one of the main things on which the game works.
See, the narration part, it depends if it is a mobile game. Say for example, the mobile game, I need only a context part of the story. I don't want a whole story, right? I just need a context, like Subway Surfers, just a starting context. But if you're going with a Clash of Clans kind of a game, yeah, a bit more story should be stretched, not super high, but still to a certain level you will have to be. Take Infinity Blade. It also has a context, but not as hardcore as Dark Souls, correct? So mobile production, usually we have a life cycle of like 6 months to 2 years. Consoles have like 4 or 5 years of life cycle. Based on that, you put your priorities. Is it a narration driven the priority of your game or not? If it is there, then when we reduce the top parts all a bit more lesser and give more time for the narration. That's probably a difference between console and mobile right now, but I'm not really sure because there are games which narratively is also good on mobiles. That's also coming right now. It's coming with as close as console games. So it's more of where do you want to pitch your game? Do you want to pitch your game to a person who loves in stories? Or do you want to pitch your game to someone who has just 2 minutes or 5 minutes in a day and they need to have fun and that's it? They don't care about getting immersed into the story. So what is your game? That when you define, you can take a call on which to do. And especially, there was this one point I told you about short, mid and long term objectives, right? That part for me is a huge change between mobile and console. Okay, in mobile, you'll do daily challenges, you'll do weekly challenges, you might have a monthly challenge with social friends. Those kind of things come into those kind of objectives. But when it comes to console, It will be like defeat this boss in the hardest level. Got the point? It's completely contrasting. One is purely social or day to day you'll have to play. We know that it works for like 2 or 3 years like a service. So there it differs. There is the difference between mobile and console, it happens. But eventually for me, it doesn't look different because everything, that process looks almost same. The time would be shorter, you will have a lesser team to put in. The ambitions of the project would be different. Sometimes for mobile it will be like just get to the market quickly. So it's like, okay, 6 months be there. And console would be like, no, we are going ambitious, we need to be on a research time period. So even the first step of whether you are interested might go for 1 year. And mobile would be like 2 weeks. Catch it up as quickly as possible. So the time brackets all completely differ. It differs upon where you're targeting. And according to that, we try to find. Plus on console also at that point, the core mechanics you do, right? Sometimes there will be multiple core mechanics. Like for RPG games, if you look at closely, there is a navigation part of it, that's one core mechanic. The inventory would be as big as it is, right? So the accessibility of each of entities inside that menu, that is also a core mechanic. You should be able to know that when he's playing this, he's able to drag and drop this over here, or he's able to craft over here, he's able to do this. That becomes a second core mechanic again. So you'll have multiple core mechanics to build. So hardcore games would take more time in making the interest factor itself. Okay. Yeah.
So till what end does the narration affect core loop or core mechanics? I mean, why is narration not kept in the start?
Because you don't know what your game is.
Doesn't it affect core loop?
No. Because if your core mechanic, you start over there and you say your objective is to kill objects, you are making a standpoint that you can kill objects. If you put it as only collecting coins, then it's only collecting coins. So the narration would get inspired from that, right? If it is only collecting, the narration story-wise, I'll say that, oh, there was this cute bird which was trying to collect a lot of pollen grains from a flower. I can put it like that, no problem with that. But if you say that I'm killing objectives, then I'll say that, oh, there was Kratos and he was killing people.
So after deciding the core mechanics and core loop, you decide.
Yeah. We need to find what kind of immersion or a emotion we are trying to give to the audience. That's one of the key parts that I'm trying to define over here. Probably I had to write it somewhere, but I didn't write. Okay. With this process, that is one thing that we are trying to identify. When a game designer comes and says that, okay, I have this emotion of Kratos I want to put in and this is the core mechanic. Sometimes when you prototype, you understand that emotion doesn't even come. A complete different emotion comes out. Okay, so instead of thinking about Kratos, just throw it aside and do the game design core mechanic and tell us what emotion rightly comes out of it. Okay, when you have those emotions correctly put in, and that's when you go into narration. Otherwise, you will be doing double work. You'll be wasting time once you write it, and then you will be constrained. You know, suddenly you are in a loop saying that, oh no, Kratos, only that. It's not working. Okay, try something else new. Again, you'll keep on doing that. You won't do anything else. That's why I wouldn't constrain with the narration at the start. At the start, full power on the game design, go complete creative as possible, but look where the market stands. That's it. And when you step back one by one, go ahead, then at each step, check with the market. If they are over here, then we need to be close to that. So that's why I put narration a bit ending.
So when we decide the narration, we can change core loop and
We won't change the core loop. No? We know that it's fun to play. Why would you break it? This is what, of course, I'm not saying that I wouldn't break it at all. 98% I won't break it unless and until my team comes back and says that there is a valid reason to break it. Okay. My question is only one thing with this process is when you go through this process, you know you made something that is fun to play. Correct? Why would you reduce the fun?
so if you want to add something extra,
But why would you want to make it? Because you already made something that is fun and you know it is fun. You might want to extend it, and that's true. But at one point, if market is not demanding you that and you already have, say for example, market is having 5 features and we put that 6th and 7th feature, that is a selling point for us. Why do you have to put the 10th? What is forcing you to put? No one is forcing you, you just push the bracket. So going full force on it, you're going to burn down unnecessarily yourself. And if you have me as your producer, I'll be like, why? You have two features that is a unique feature, why do you want to push it? So it doesn't make sense also. Pushing everything into one plate, it doesn't make sense much. We need to push it slowly, give it next. What if it is a potential sequel? What if it is a potential DLC? You're ruining the chance of expanding the universe. So you need to think in those all aspects before you pump in more and more new features into your game. And maybe the audience just loves only with this. Maybe your new feature would fail completely. Maybe we don't know that. So trying to find out like that, it's a bit tricky. Only under certain conditions we try to do it, but it's not a fully like red line, don't do kind of. Everything is possible in this process. It is just that you need the right time to pitch it. Okay. Any other questions?
What would you think about sound?
The
In its quality or
see, one thing I always make sure in this part alone, audio is always there. I didn't write it, but everywhere there. Okay, when the narration part or the visual fidelity comes in, that time the audio assets come actual, potentially the right ones. Otherwise, placeholders are there always. You know why? Even the core mechanic, like tap, drag, drop. Okay, visually, an object to drop and drag is not enough. You need the audio also. Sometimes you need like, okay, my click is taken, my click is not taken. When it is dropped over, I dropped over here. So sound is a must-have everywhere. Without sound, we can't do anything. Throughout this process, every prototypes that I have made, audio is like not negotiable. Should be there. Some placeholder should be there. So audio is the first intention to give you that immersiveness in the game. Not the final ones. I'm not saying that the best quality to put in. But even if it is a snapping sound like of dropping, I need it. Without that, you won't understand.